Hi, good afternoon everyone. So today is the editorial session. Every month we are doing an editorial session in which we are providing you the previous month editorials. We are providing the June month editorials. The numbers are 20 to 21. All of you get the editorials in the PDF in the Telegram group of the Edukemy. Please download those editorials, and we are also providing a single editorial for the discussion. Today's editorial is on the basis of the manufacturing, and this editorial is taken from the Indian Express. So idea behind the discussion of the editorials is how to use the editorial information in your paper. If you are reading any of the editorials, its relevance in the paper, how we will use the information of the given editorials in the exam. Number one, when the editorial starts with the introduction, there is a specific context given by the editors when even they are writing about the manufacturing sector, even they are writing about the service sector, even it's about the international relation or the geographical factor, any of them. So you people can use these introduction directly into your mains answer. Whenever there is a question related to the similar topic you will find in the mains, you can use these introduction directly into the paper. And after the introduction, you will find a flow in the editorial, how the editor is writing and making a coherence in between the different paragraphs. This is a skill which help you to learn how to write an answer. When you will see a coherence between the different paragraph in the editorial, you will find how they are linking the previous paragraph with the upcoming paragraph. And this thing also you help in the CSET also. Whenever you are reading the editorial in the CSET paper, you will find a 28 comprehension. In those 28 comprehension, you will find when you are reading the editorials, you are understanding the demand of the editorial, exactly what the editor is saying. Similar with the level of the CSET, they are giving you some of the situations, and they are giving you some of the assumptions you find out, some of the conclusion you need to be write in the CSET paper. That can be easily understood if you are understanding the demand of the editorial there. The next is some of the key points. Editor is writing about in the form of the 1 point, second point, differing there, third point, and the fourth point. Whenever any of the editor is writing the article, they are writing in the form of the systemic causes. This is the first point, why the manufacturing sector is not performing in the country. Second point, what is the reason behind it? What is the share of the manufacturing sector, and how we are behind from the another economy like the China and the Thailands. So these are some of the points you need to be wrote down in your notebook. So these are the key points, key data you need to be represented in your answer sheets. So this is the relevance of the editorial whenever you are reading and you are making the notes within the half an page of that editorial and writing the key points from the editorial, and you are using these editorials in your mains answer sheet. That's the relevance of the editorial there. Then finally, we will come to the conclusion part. If you are reading any of the editorial, आप daily basis पे हिंदू से Indian Express editorials पढ़ते हैं, you will find they are concluding in a very good way. Means they are comparing the Indian economy with the another economy with the same level. Even they are criticizing some of the government schemes in the conclusion. कि अगर हम इससे better कर सकते थे. Like in this editorial in the 1991, they are criticizing the LPG reforms related to the manufacturing sector. Whenever you are reading a question in your answer question paper, उस टाइम पे एकदम से सोचना बहुत मुश्किल हो जाता है. Within the span of the 7-8 minutes that's provided by the UPSC for the every question, if you are thinking in those 7-8 minutes what to be write in the conclusion, it will become difficult to complete the paper. If you are having the ready-made conclusion, ready-made introduction, then it will save your time and your impression on the examiner will be very good, because you are picking some of the good introduction and the conclusion from the paper. Where the role of the newspaper come? तो यही सब चीजें आपको न्यूज़पेपर से निकालनी होती है whenever you are reading an opinion, you are reading an editorial, you are reading an explained page of the any of the paper. Prelims के लिए there is a different thing. If you are reading the paper for the prelims, you should be focused on the fact. you should be focused on the policy, agency, and some of the application of the article. प्रीलिम्स में आपको इन सब चीजों पे ध्यान रखना होता है. When the mains you need to be focused on the introduction, you need to be focused on the flow of the article as well. अगर आप फ्लो पे नहीं जाओगे तो योर आंसर विल नॉट बी कनेक्टेड विद द इंट्रोडक्शन. बॉडी अलग होगा, कंक्लूजन अलग होगा. तो वेन एवर वी आर राइटिंग अवर आंसर, there should be a linkage between the introduction question and the introduction, then introduction and the body, and then the body and the conclusion. Like the discontinuity होता है ज्योग्राफी में, तो डिसकंटिन्यूटी के में डिफरेंट टाइप की डिसकंटिन्यूटी होती हैं, तो वो एक दूसरे से लिंक होती हैं. तो सिमिलरली योर इंट्रोडक्शन शुड बी लिंक विद द क्वेश्चन, क्योंकि क्वेश्चन का डिमांड है, उसके अकॉर्डिंग ही आप इंट्रोडक्शन स्टार्ट कर रहे हो. तो वो एक रिफ्लेक्ट होना चाहिए कि यस यू आर एड्रेसिंग द क्वेश्चन डिमांड. Then in the body part you will address all the part of the question. So your introduction explained should be in the body part, and then this conclusion you will sum up the summary of the body into the conclusion. So वो एक linkage बनेगा. Then after that linkage you will read कि हाँ this is the perfect answer you are making. Then after you will go to the presentation, how we can present in a better way. So the today's editorial is at the root of India's manufacturing sector challenge. आप सभी को मिला है. You will take a 15-20 minutes to read this editorial. You will mark the important points in the first paragraph, then the unimpressive record, then the price of food and the educational outcome in India. There are the 4 dimensions are given in this editorial. And you will, when you are reading this article, you will find कि some of the exclusive कंटेंट आर गिवन इन दिस आर्टिकल जो हम सोचते नहीं है अबाउट द मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सेक्टर. वी आर थिंकिंग कि एलपीजी रिफॉर्म्स के बाद मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सेक्टर ने अच्छा परफॉर्म करना शुरू किया, जो ये आर्टिकल कॉन्ट्राडिक्ट कर रहा है. एंड दिस इज गिवन ए लॉजिकल कंक्लूजन फॉर इट ऑल्सो कि हाँ दिस इज द लॉजिक बिहाइंड इट, व्हाई आई एम कंट्राडिक्टिंग द मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सेक्टर आफ्टर द एलपीजी रिफॉर्म्स. इवन दे आर ऑल्सो राइटिंग अबाउट द food consumption in India according to the level of the income is higher than the other country. अगर इंडिया में एक बंदा 100 रुपए कमा रहा है तो 50 रुपए खाने पे ही खर्च कर दे रहा है. Where in the another developed country it is like that they are spending only 10 rupee and saving the 90 rupee, and that goes to the manufacturing sector. This is also a dimension given in the article. So please read the article within the 15 minutes so we can identify what are the major points in this article that you need to be looked at, जो आपको देखने चाहिए थे जो आपने स्किप किए हैं. प्लीज रीड द आर्टिकल फॉर 15 मिनट्स. चारू भगत, यू कैन टेक दिस एडिटोरियल फ्रॉम द टेलीग्राम ग्रुप. प्लीज मार्क द इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट एज नंबरिंग 1 2 3 4. ये इसके बाद लिखेंगे दिस इज द रीजन, ये क्यों हुआ था ऐसा, इंडिया में क्या इम्पैक्ट है. दोज यू नीड टू बी मेंशन इन द पॉइंट फॉर्म सो यू कैन टेक द इंफॉर्मेशन फ्रॉम द आर्टिकल. Hi Pawan, you need to read the editorial first, then we will discuss in the few minutes. This is the heading of the editorial, at the root of the Indian manufacturing challenge. The PDF is shared on the Telegram group. Please read the article and highlight the important point in it. हो गया? ओके, ठीक है. अभी लेट्स कम टू द फर्स्ट पैराग्राफ ऑफ द आर्टिकल दैट्स सेइंग अबाउट द इंडस्ट्रियल पॉलिसी our hold in the 1991. There was a LPG reforms in the 1991, liberalization, globalization and privatization, which are specifically focused for the manufacturing sector. Let's the India move from the agriculture to manufacturing sector and then straightly to the service sector. But the condition in India was different at that time also. After the liberalization of the policy, it was seen that India is keeping its manufacturing sector or the industry sector, and we are directly going to the service sector, where this is not a probable growth in the all other the country, where the stable process is the agriculture, then industry, then the service sector. If we are going through the data of the economic survey, the service sector is contributing almost 52 to 53% in the GDP. Whereas the manufacturing sector is only contributing approximately 15% to 16%, and the agriculture sector is almost 19 to 20%. Where we are looking at the data from the another country, like the data from the China, South Korea, where the manufacturing sector is contributing 30 to 35%, which is almost double from the India. Even in the case of the Thailand and some of the East Asian country, the contribution of the manufacturing sector is almost 28 to 29%. Means they are missing something in the manufacturing sector in India, and that missing thing is written by this editor in this editorial. So if we are coming to the first paragraph, they is writing about why the India service sector is growing up, and there is standard model of economic of development and successful economic industrial expansion. तो एक सिंपल इन्होंने एक जनरल इंट्रोडक्शन दिया कि इंडिया का जो मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सेक्टर है that is not going through a probable pathway that should be gone through, but it's keeping its manufacturing sector and the mostly service sector is growing up. If there is a question related to the what are the major challenges of the India manufacturing sectors and why the India is not growing as a country like the China in the manufacturing sector, the introduction is suitable for that question. So these kind of the introduction you need to be take it up कि सॉफ्टवेयर इंडस्ट्री ज़्यादा ग्रोथ करा लेकिन उसके बाद भी नहीं हुआ है. If we are coming to the second part, second paragraph, focus on the keywords. The economic reforms of 1991 had almost exclusively focused on the manufacturing. When we are doing the, hello, it's audible, Prasanna, Pavan. Okay. So when there is a LPG reforms in the country, so there is a specifically focus related to the manufacturing sector, because at that time our service sector was also growing, even the agriculture was also start growing during that time, and we are focusing specifically on the manufacturing sector because we are lacking in the skills. License Raj का एक बहुत बड़ा issue था, but the here editor is writing even after the dismantling of the license permit Raj and scaling down the tariff, it not lead to an increase in the share of the manufacturing in the economy. ऐसा उन्होंने क्यों लिखा? Any idea? जब लाइसेंस राज भी हटा दिया गया और उसके साथ साथ टैरिफ्स को भी कम किया गया, तो why the manufacturing sector of India was not growing? हाँ, the reason was there was no skill, there was a lack of infrastructure, and one of the other reason the license राज हटाया गया था, the license राज removal was also for the service sector. It's not only for the manufacturing sector, and also and the service sector was growing in the country at that time also. So the most benefit of this removal of the license raj and reduction of the tariff was taken up by the service sector. So these kind of the lines you can use in the conclusion कि जो policy reforms हुए specifically, that are not according to the focus of the requirement of the sector. These are specifically a general kind of the liberalization by the country and which are taken up by the service sector, because for the manufacturing sector we require number one labor, and the labor should be skilled. We require the infrastructure for a particular kind of the industry. We require a suitable environment. We require the raw material. Instead of focusing on these things, they are just opening up the sector without protecting the industry, and that's why the reason why even after the liberalization of the 1991 there was no increase in the manufacturing sector. So these lines, these three first 2.5 lines you can use in the conclusion. Then if we are coming to the second part of the second paragraph, a beautiful line is written here. Even the manufacturing sector was not growing, but our quality of the product was growing. We are diversifying our products. Means we are producing a good quality of products and we are diversifying our products, but there was no one to buy these products in the India. One issue, there was no market in India at that time because the income level was very less. So we are start creating inequality in the market. The person, those who are having the money in the pocket, they are buying those products, they are preferring those products, but we are not producing the products for the mass. जो ज़्यादा population जिनको requirement उस product का था, we are not producing the product for the mass. So these kind of the lines, when there is a question on the equality in the social issue, कि inequality India में क्यों बढ़ रहा है, so when you are presenting the past of the India in between 1990 to 2000, you can use these kind of the words. Even we are expanding, but the product produced by the manufacturing sectors are creating the inequality. This is the view we can only get from the paper. हम वैसे नहीं सोचेंगे कि मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सेक्टर ग्रो नहीं हो रहा था, तो वो भी एक इनइक्वालिटी का रीजन है. These kind of lines you need to be remember. You need to be right in your answer, so your answer are enriched with the content. Then this is the main first two paragraph you can use in these kind of the introduction. You can use in the conclusion and some of the important information there. Now come to the second paragraph where the heading is given the unimpressive record. Unimpressive records meaning after the LPG reforms there was no focus on the changing the policy of the manufacturing sector. It's continued till 2014. ये 2014 तक continue रहा. Even the growth was not according to the policy of the LPG. The reforms was required in the sector. Even till now the reforms are required. But the government is going with the flow. The service sector was increasing. Its share in the GDP was increasing. So they are less focusing toward the manufacturing sector. This is considered as a bigger mistake by the government of India. Because the manufacturing sector is considered as it will consume the more labor from the market, where the Indian manufacturing sector is only consuming the 10% of the labor market. So this is a question mark why it is not consuming and why we are not an export oriented country like the China. The China is an export oriented country. They are manufacturing all the product and exporting to the all over the world, and where we are becoming an import dependent country. And the reason is also given here. After the 1991, there was only the program started in 2014 is the Make in India. We started Make in India, but again the policy failure. We did not focus on the infrastructure part. हमने मार्केटिंग पे तो खर्च किया कि हम मेक इन इंडिया करेंगे, हम अपना प्रोडक्ट बनाएंगे, हम बाहर भेजेंगे, बट देयर इज नो फोकस ऑन द बेसिक पार्ट. अगेन वी आर नॉट फोकसिंग ऑन द स्किल्स इन द इंडस्ट्री लेवल. हम कॉलेज में उनको कॉलेज कनेक्ट नहीं है इंडस्ट्री से. द स्टूडेंट कमिंग आउट फ्रॉम द कॉलेज इज नॉट हैविंग दैट स्किल दैट इज रिक्वायर्ड इन द इंडस्ट्री. Again the policy failure by the government of India related to the manufacturing sector. And then again product linked incentive schemes that was started in the 2018-19 with the each sector they are providing the PLI scheme. PLI scheme means the government will provide some of the incentives. If you are producing a good kind of the products, they will provide you incentive. But for the good kind of product, what is required? कोई अच्छा प्रोडक्ट मुझे बनाना तो क्या क्या चाहिए? सबसे पहला तो लेबर स्किल चाहिए, मुझे स्किल लेबर चाहिए जो सोच सके उसके बारे में कि हाउ आई कैन डिफरेंशिएट द प्रोडक्ट फ्रॉम द अनदर मार्केट. सेकेंड, आई नीड द इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर ऑफ दैट लेवल. हाँ, डिमांड बेस्ड गुड्स. यस, द मेन पॉइंट रिसर्च एंड डेवलपमेंट R&D. फिफ्थ, मशीन ऑफ दैट टाइप जो उसको प्रोड्यूस कर सके. So these are the major things which are required for producing the goods, and in the PLI scheme they are saying we will incentivize you if you are producing these kind of product instead of focusing on these one. कि मैं आपको बोल देता हूं कि मैं आपको मेंस में हेल्प कर दूंगा, मैं आपको एडिटोरियल पढ़ना ही नहीं सिखा रहा हूं. So these kind of the product they are doing this कि हाँ आपको अपने आप से ही करना है. We are just give you the money. वो भी प्रोडक्ट बनने के बाद, बिकॉज दिस प्रोसेस एंड मशीनरी is the highest consumption capital in industry. If any company is good in the research and development, if they are good in the machinery, they can take over the market. Like take the mobile industry in the country, it is taken over by the Chinese products, Chinese mobile manufacturers. Because of the R&D, they are able to manufacture the mobile phone in the cheaper price. Because of the presence of the good machinery, presence of the labor skill, and the demand based, they specifically focused on the middle class, lower middle class, where the pricing point was taken from the 5,000 to the 15,000. And they launched most of their products, the 90% of their products in that range from the 5,000 to 15,000, so that the mass can buy those products. So they identified the market which is required for that. But in the Indian manufacturing sector, we are producing those products which the middle income class, lower income class and the poor people cannot buy. They are producing a shirt for 2,000 rupee where poor man cannot afford for a 200 rupee even. So this is the mismatch in the demand and the supply. Means supply is consider them as a premium, but we are not considering, we are not earning that much, so we can afford a premium products. So this was a mismatch. So this is given in the first paragraph कि हाँ एक तो सबसे first reason was there was a no policy after the 1991 which was specifically focused on the manufacturing sector. Even after they are focusing on the PLI, they are not considering these products. These you should link with. यहाँ पे लिखा नहीं है, आपको ये खुद से लिंक करना पड़ेगा when you are reading the manufacturing sectors. What are the lacunae in the manufacturing sectors? हाँ, yes. Then if we are coming to the next paragraph, they are writing about the manufacturing sectors. Growth in the last 1 year is only the 1.3%. It is the same as we are starting from the 2000. जब भी इतना ही था, even in now it's 1.3%. Even the agriculture sector is growing at 3%. During the COVID time, the agriculture sector was growth at a 4% plus, but the manufacturing sector was growing at a negative process because one reason, we are an import dependent country even for the raw material. We are not having a good sustainable industry in the country. MSM, more than the 1,000 of the MSME were closed down during that 2 years because of the government policy. They are not able to incentivize, they are not able to, so that the manufacturing sector can run. This is the one of the reason why the MSME was closed during the COVID period. There in the last line, structural holding back, means there is something structural missing in the sector. So these terms, structural holding back in the manufacturing sector, you can use a side heading when you are writing a issue with the manufacturing sector in the country. So these kind of the keywords you need to pick up. तो वो आप side headings लिखोगे, underline करोगे, examiner को सामने से ही दिखेगा. So you can get a good marks there. Then if we are coming to the next paragraph, which is not much suitable, there is a discussion between the finance minister and the private company, where the finance minister is saying we will incentivize you again, कि हम आपको पैसा देंगे लेकिन बाकी काम आपको ही करना है. Again they are doing the same mistake. Initially means they are not focusing on the pillar of the manufacturing sector again. They are just dependent on the company कि they will do the things and manufacturing sector of the India will grow up. Again they are doing the same thing and they expand the 18.5% of the capital expenditure in this year related to the manufacturing sector. But the result was saying here, we are seeing only the 1.3% growth in the manufacturing sector of the country. So in the first page, there are 3 important outcomes. One, the ineffectiveness of the government scheme, issue of the structural holding in the manufacturing sector. Then it's related to the rising inequality, the kind of products they are selling in the market, and one is the import dependent economy India is. This is the takeout from the first page. If we are going to the second page of the article, the question is about the price of the food, and this is the most surprising to us, as we are a country of the 140 million population. This is a surprise to us that India is spending more in the food products instead of the any other thing. And where a developed economy like the Singapore, like the USA, they are spending less on the food products. Means there is an issue with something with the policy of the government. So if we are reading the first line, they are saying in a country, the demand should be independent of the supply side. Demand should be independent of the supply side so that the manufacturing sector can survive. इट्स मीन्स इज इफ आई एम सप्लाइंग समथिंग XYZ, मेरा डिमांड तो अलग चीज के लिए है ना, जो डिमांड है वो इंडिपेंडेंट है, तो आपको डिमांड को देखते हुए सप्लाई बनाना पड़ेगा, नोट लाइक कि जो सप्लाई है उसके अकॉर्डिंग डिमांड नहीं बनेगा. इफ आई रिक्वायर्ड 1 kg salt, I will not buy 1 kg sugar, and in the market there is a supply of the salt, so I will not buy. It will pile up in the manufacturing industry. That is the same reason they are saying about there should be a demand based manufacturing that can be tackled by the supply. This is given in the first line. It should be the independent of the supply side. And where in the present context we are thinking about, we are producing those products so that it can be consumed by the people. Means uska demand create ho after the supply. That's not possible in this kind of the era. Then if we are coming to the last line of the first paragraph in the second page, there is for a substantial section of the Indian household, food occupies a large share, and this constricts the growth of the demand for the manufacturers. It means if I am earning 100 rupees on a daily basis and I am spending the 30, 40, 50 rupees on the food, then how I will buy the shoe, how I will buy the clothes, how I will buy the some of the another manufacturing products from the manufacturing sectors. That's why which lead to a slow demand in the country. So means the spending on the food. इसका मतलब ये भी हो गया कि per capita income of the India is less than the another country, and we are not able to afford the products which are manufactured by the Indian manufacturer. Take an example, Micromax and the Lava. They are releasing the mobile phone in the market. They are releasing the mobile phone in the price range of the 15 to 20,000. In the same quality mobile are released by the Chinese manufacturer in the 5 to 6,000. Why the people will buy the Micromax and the Lava? They will buy the Redmi, Realme. This is the reason, this is the present example in the situation we are saying about. Even in the some of the other electronic product also, like the AC's company, they are also offering the same kind of the product with the less than a 10,000, 15,000 less amount than the Indian company. So वो एक issue है कि we are producing the product, but due to lack of the skill, due to lack of the infrastructure, due to lack of the technology, our product is very costly as compared to the other country where product is very cheap, because they invest on the basic pillars of the manufacturing where we are lacking out, जहाँ पे हम अभी भी कमी है. Even we see after the passing out of the college, how many of the students getting the placement in the college? If 1000 batch है तो मुश्किल से 100 लोगों को मिलेगा. 900 are not getting the job in the college because of the lack of the skill. Because our basic study is not linked with the industrial growth. Even we are not focusing on the link with the manufacturing sectors. There is a paragraph in the next paragraph that will talk about the skill. Then if we are coming to the third paragraph, ये food वाले sectors में specifically in the other country, there is the less spending on the food and the higher spending on the manufacturing product buying, because of the they are a stable country and the GDP per capita is very high, or the income per capita is very high as compared to India, so they can afford these kind of the products. And due to the higher technology level and due to the great skill, the product is also cheap in those countries. Then if we are coming to the third paragraph of the second page, they are saying about that we talked about the infrastructure, the skill required, the cost of production, the type of products on the basis of the demand is required for boosting the manufacturing sector. So these four, one is the infrastructure, skill level, cost of production, type of products. When you will suggest something how the manufacturing sector will grow in the India, so you will write these points here. We need to be focused on the infra, we need to be focused on the skills, we need to be focused on the cost of production, and then the type of product also. And again, major thing is about the transportation. Like the North India is not having any port, right? The cost of transporting is very high in the country. If the Delhi is producing any other thing, we want to export that to the China or the some of the East Asian country. How will we export until and unless it reach to the Gujarat region, जहाँ पे port है. And that will take too much of the cost on the products that is producing in the Delhi region. And this is the one of the reason why the major companies are not investing in the North India. If you see the investment, the coming in the FDI in the India, they're mostly to the south side or the central India because of the connectivity, because of the unpresence of the ports in the northern India. That's why the investment is very less. They're giving the examples of the port of the Singapore. You can mention these kind of example by making a small kind of the box. In the Singapore, they are taking a very less time to clear the subjects from the port. Like a ship aata, so they are taking 2 hours, 3 hours. In India, the time period is 24 hours, 48 hours for clearing the shipments. That is one of the reason कि हाँ इतना ज़्यादा time लग रहा है ports में. They are also giving the example of the Kerala, where they are saying please use the other state port. Means there is a not much efficient port rules also. तो ये kind of की study आप अपने बॉक्स में डालोगे एग्जाम्पल्स में, तो योर आंसर विल बी एनरिच्ड एंड दीज आर द एग्जाम्पल्स यू नीड टू बी पिक्ड फ्रॉम द पेपर. ये अपने आप तो नहीं पता लगेगा कि केरला में ऐसा हो रहा है. whenever you are reading the editorials, you will be getting these kind of example. Please make a notebook and divide it according to the GS wise and write these kind of example in the notebook, so you can enrich your content when you are writing the mains. Then in the last line of this paragraph, we are finding the factors: the inexpensive power, space and industrial waste disposal service is also matter. The power in the India has a high tariff, lack of the disposal rate, and disposal rate means कि we are taking the more time for clearing the ports, and the space and the industrial waste को भी हमारे लिए we are not having the process for those waste also. So this is also adding up some of the cost to the manufacturing sector. कोई चीज को 2 घंटे में क्लियर किया गया तो इट विल टेक अ लेस कोस्ट. वही चीज को 48 आवर्स में हम क्लियर कर रहे हैं, इट विल टेक अ मोर कोस्ट देयर. Then again, this is a major factor, the educational outcomes. The educational outcomes in India. In a group of the 75 countries, there is a report related to the education जहाँ पे इंडिया का नाम ही नहीं है, with a top educational institution. And if we are considering the report of the Pratham, it's an Indian NGO, उसके according भी the skill level in India is not that good. The child of the 7-8 class is not able to solve the maths of the 2nd, 3rd class. This is the kind of the education we are providing to our children. And even after some of the college, even if the IIT, even it's the IIM, and some of the other major institutions of the country, where we are not focusing on the policy related to the industry, we are just providing them the education so that they can place very well into some of the company. But out of those who are taking the admission in 5,000 people or 6,000 people taking admission in the IIT, how many of them get the highest package? This is a condition of question mark also. Because in our media, in our reports, only the top 5%, we are discussing about only the top 5%, whereas about the 95%. We are not talking about these kind of the people, those who are not getting the jobs. Even some of them are passing from the topmost institution. The person who is spending the 40 lakh rupee in the IIM, if he getting the package of the 10 lakh, how we are justify these things in the India? So the mismatch between the skill level, mismatch between the industry and the education is the major reason of not growth of the manufacturing sector in the country. Then in the last page, if we are coming to the last page there, we are जो अभी का जनरेशन है वो मैनुअल वर्क नहीं करना चाहता है. दे आर नॉट डूइंग मैनुअल वर्क. कि कारपेंटर नहीं बनना है, किसी को प्लम्बर नहीं बनना है. Even these things comes through the skills. If we start opening a pipe through the plumber, हम नहीं कर सकते because we are not having a good skill for that. If we start treating the AC like a motor, we cannot ठीक हम नहीं कर सकते हैं AC को ठीक. तो इन चीज के लिए भी skills चाहिए होता है. Where the now generation is moving out from these things. They think these are the not good skill work. They are moving out of some of the other field also. Like हम इंडिया के टेस्ट प्रेप इंडस्ट्री को ही देखते हैं तो मोस्ट ऑफ द यंगर जनरेशन इज वेस्टिंग देयर टाइम पीरियड्स 4-5 productive year of age in preparing for the entrance examination. If we are taking the example of the UPSC field, the 10-12 lakh candidates are filling the form and 6-7 lakh giving the examination. Only out of those 6-7 lakh, only the 1,000 students are successful every year. Again, the 6-7 lakhs is going through the cycle and new are added in the every year. So many of them, if I am considering the 5-year average, only the 5,000 student will be selected only, and the entering the field is approximately 3 to 4 lakh. This is the ineffectiveness of the Indian education system. We make some of the job prime, कि हाँ IAS ही एक prime job है. If we are moving toward the manufacturing sectors, we are exporting the product out of the country, that can be the much better than this rule. If you are taking the example of the SSC, in the last year there are like a 6-7,000 posts, 50,000 posts शायद, and the people are filing the form. कितना होगा था? Approximately 1 crore. Approximately 1 crore people filled the form of the SSC for the 50,000 posts. This is the kind of ineffectiveness of the education system. In the railway, RRB, more than 1 crore file form for the Group C, Group D post where the salary is 30,000. Means we are struggling for the employment even after getting the highest education of the country. MA, BA करके बैठे हैं लेकिन we are not getting the employment there. This is a mismatch between the industry level and the education level. And even our manufacturing sector in the country is not performing, we should be focused on the another country model. जहाँ पे population ज़्यादा नहीं है, they are surviving on the exports like the East Asian country. They are manufacturing their products like that, so they have the high demand in the foreign country. But we are also not doing that thing. Means we are not analyzing the market, we are not analyzing the demand of the people, what is required in the India. This is a mismatch of the industrial level in the country. So this is the conclusion of the article. If there is a specific question related to the manufacturing, you can answer the thing from this article by mentioning the example, by mentioning the side headings, good conclusions as well as the reforms के बारे में भी. And if you see the conclusion of the article, it's written very clearly. The economic reforms of 1991 were undertaken with a view to raising the presence of manufacturing. To this effect, the trade and industrial policy regime had been overhauled. However, it overlooked the need of entire ecosystem. Means he concludes the whole article in the one line. We need to look at entire ecosystem, including schooling, including training, infrastructure for manufacturing. If you're writing these kind of the conclusion, means these are a very good conclusion for the answer. पूरा पैराग्राफ को इन्होंने लास्ट के 2 लाइन में कंक्लूड कर दिया किस किस चीज पे हमें काम करना पड़ेगा. So these kind of the reading is required for the editorial. So there is a question I framed on the basis of this editorial. If you try to write the question, discuss the challenge faced by the Indian manufacturing sector that hinders the sector to evolve as a global manufacturing hub like China. You should be write this question in the 150 words. The question is having the 2 parts. One, you need to list out the challenge. Second, how it will become a global manufacturing hub. You need to quote the data. You need to write the points and the issue with the Indian manufacturing sectors. Even you can also add some of the case study. The case study of the East Asian country where they are doing a great job related to the manufacturing sector. So whenever you are reading the editorial, your focus should be on the keywords. Your focus should be on how they are suggesting the way for any of the issue related to the India. कोई भी editorial पढ़े तो link the editorial with the syllabus and focus as this is your content. If you are adding these keywords in your manufacturing notes, you can answer any of the manufacturing question through these 2 pages. That is the benefit of the newspaper. How to use the newspaper in the answer. तो इसी तरीके से आप लोगों को एडिटोरियल्स पढ़ने होते हैं. तो यू गेट द एडिटोरियल्स इन योर टेलीग्राम ग्रुप. ऑलमोस्ट 20-21 एडिटोरियल्स आर प्रोवाइडेड टू यू. ईच एडिटोरियल इज फॉलोड बाय अ क्वेश्चन. अगर आप देखोगे पीडीएफ को, हर एडिटोरियल के बाद एक क्वेश्चन दिया गया है. रीड द एडिटोरियल, ट्राई टू राइट द क्वेश्चन. सो व्हाट यू आर रिटेनिंग थ्रू द एडिटोरियल, व्हाट यू आर गेटिंग थ्रू द एडिटोरियल, दैट शुड बी क्लियर कि आपने क्या पढ़ा. पढ़ के छोड़ दिया तो कोई काम नहीं आएगा. Until and unless you are writing about the editorial there. कोई डाउट है किसी को तो you can ask about it. Any doubt related to newspaper, कोई भी कैसे पढ़ना है, क्या करना है, how we can do it. But make a different kind of the notes. एक notebook ले लो, multiple part में divide करो. write down the notes according to your syllabus headings. Manufacturing sector in India is a part of the GS3. It's a heading given in the paper, so you can make your notes according to that. If there is any question related to the manufacturing sector, you can address those answers from only those 2 pages you are writing in your notes. Otherwise, it will become a very complex process कि जितना ज़्यादा आप पढ़ोगे उतना ज़्यादा सिलेबस पाइल अप होगा अगर आप नोट्स नहीं कन्वर्ट करते हैं. So what is the turn? Editorial class is on every Saturday? No, it is not every Saturday. Every Friday we are taking a class of the weekly current affairs, and the editorial session is once in a month. The schedule will be shared in the group. आपको dates बता दी जाएंगे editorials की जब जब होगा. You will get 2 editorial on a reading basis and a list of the 20 editorials of the last month. So you can read it on and you can write the answer. I will suggest please write the answer and you can show to us कि आपने क्या लिखा है. So you can be analyze yourself. Where are you? कितना आपने पढ़ा है, कितना आपने gain किया है. This is the thing you can take from us. For writing this question, you should take maximum 15 minutes. Maximum 15 minutes you can take, but in the exam mode you will write this question in the 7 minutes. Here you can take the 15 minutes, but in the exam this should be all right in the 7 minutes only. तो अभी देखो 7 मिनट में क्या सोचोगे अगर पहले से कंटेंट रेडी नहीं है, अगर केस स्टडी पहले से नहीं पता है, चैलेंजेस पहले से नहीं पता है, अच्छे कीवर्ड्स नहीं पता है, तो कैसे 7 मिनट्स में लिखोगे? That's why everything should be ready for the mains. In the mains, there is a repetition of the almost 55 to 60% of the topic in the one way or the other way. अगर आपके पास पहले से कंटेंट है तो you can complete the paper and you can write very good answer. Even in the paper you cannot write with the 150 words. उसमें आपको 140, 130 करना पड़ेगा तभी आपका पेपर कंप्लीट होगा. If you are writing instead of 150, 200 लिख रहे हो तो आपका पेपर कंप्लीट ही नहीं होगा. Because in the exam you need to write the 4000 words according to the UPSC, 2500 words for the 15 marker and the 1500 words for the 10 marker. Total 4000 words. If I am counting the time, 25 words each minute. Per minute 25 words. It's not possible. Until and unless आपको सब कुछ आता हो. तो ready with your syllabus, ready with your exam, क्या करना है, कैसे notes बनाने हैं, तभी it's possible to crack the mains. How to show you the editorial? You can send me on the Telegram group or you can send me on the personal Telegram message. Bhavna, you can show the question to us. You can upload the question there. Okay, so we will meet again on Friday with the weekly current affair class. Monthly current affair का test we will decide कि every month we will give you a 100 question current affair test so you people can get. We will trying to do that also. 15 minutes.